Every evening, just before the world outside grew completely still, Rahul would sit at his desk with a single lamp casting a warm glow. He'd pick up his pen and begin to write a letter. These letters, however, were never meant for the mail. They were never sealed in an envelope, and they never carried a stamp. They were simply for him. At first, he thought this ritual was a sign of weakness, a quiet admission of all the things he couldn't say out loud. The letters weren't filled with anger or grand, dramatic declarations. They were honest. They held the words he wished he had said, the feelings he never took the time to explain, and the goodbyes that remained unspoken, caught in his throat. Night after night, he wrote, Some benins. The ink would flow freely, filling pages with memories, regrets, and quiet hopes. He'd pour out his heart, describing moments in vivid detail, dissecting conversations, and exploring every corner of his feelings. These were the nights of deep reflection, of untangling the knots that had formed in his soul over the years. Other nights, the page held just a single, powerful sentence. I tried my best. I'm still learning how to be okay. I forgive myself. Each short phrase was a heavy truth, a milestone on his journey. Whether the letter was long or short didn't matter. What mattered was the act of writing itself, of giving his thoughts a place to exist outside the confines of his own mind. In the beginning, the process was heavy. Each letter felt like a burden he was transferring from his heart to the paper. He wrote about friendships that had faded, opportunities he had missed, and the deep, unspoken grief for the person he used to be. The pen felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds, but he kept writing. He knew, instinctively, that this was something he needed to do. As weeks turned into months, something began to shift. The nightly ritual no longer felt like a weakness. It started to feel like his quiet strength. It was a private, sacred space where he could be completely, unapologetically himself. There was no judgment, no expectation, just the gentle scratch of pen on paper and the soft light of his lamp. Every morning, Rahul would wake up, but he never reread what he had written the night before. The past was the past. Instead, he would fold each letter with care, a silent gesture of respect for the emotions it held. He placed them one by one into a simple wooden box he kept on his shelf. This box wasn't a place to hide his pain. It was a vessel to honor his journey. It was a tangible record of his growth. One morning, as the early sunlight streamed through his window, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air, a profound realization washed over him. He looked at the wooden box, now nearly full, and understood. He didn't need a response to any of his letters. He didn't need anyone else to read them, to understand him, or to validate his feelings. The entire purpose of writing wasn't to be understood by others. It was about finally understanding himself. It was about giving a voice to the silent parts of his heart and allowing them to speak their truth. The letters were his way of listening to his own soul. With this realization, the weight of the box seemed to change. It no longer felt heavy with pain, regret, and unspoken words. Instead, it felt full of growth, resilience, and self-compassion. It held the story of a man who was healing, one letter at a time. It carried the evidence of his own quiet strength. And so, each night, when Rahul picked up his pen, he felt a little lighter. He knew that closure doesn't always come from getting answers from someone else. Sometimes, it comes from the brave and honest conversations we have with ourselves. He understood that healing isn't about forgetting the past. It's about freeing your heart from its grip. And he knew, with a quiet certainty, that even if no one ever read those letters, they had already done their most important work. They had helped him find his way back to himself. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more reflections on life and healing.